Everyone, this is Marjabeen Baraj from Pakistan, and you're watching my YouTube channel Insani Ittihad, which aims to invoke a little bit of humanity in all of us through awareness and understanding. I'm really sorry and I apologize for my sore throat. Weather has been changing in Pakistan, so we have some issues of flu and sore throats and stuff like that. Anyway, the first 2 days of the Sukkahs are over last night, so this is the very next morning. And since I wanted to make a video about the high holidays so bad, and my experience for me, it was in a spiritual journey, literally a spiritual Aliyah towards making a much stronger and deeper relationship with HaShem. So I wanted to share that, definitely. I also wanted to link it with a beautiful concept, and I thought that I should share it with people so that people might relate, people who have felt similar sort of understanding and connection through these high holidays, or people who can understand it much deeper but had different, have understood or linked or connected with these spiritual times and hours and, spirituality in a different context or in a different way. For me, starting up with Rosh Hashanah being this sweet, amazing, gratitude-filled holiday where we are dipping the first sweet fruits, actually, apples and pomegranates and all those amazing fruits and yields from earth, and eat them and filled with gratitude and wish other people a sweet year and an amazing year, a year full of opportunities and possibilities, opportunities, and material well-being, and all sorts of amazing things to come. And then right after that, we fast for Yom Kippur, and it's like you eat a lot. You have a festive meal on Rosh Hashanah, starting of the year. You're filled with gratitude. You're wishing everyone well, and then you're sort of regretting and thinking about the past year's mistakes and transgressions and guilt, and fasting and abstaining from these amazing blessings that HaShem provides to every human being, including his people, Jewish people. We're abstaining from eating these amazing gifts and these amazing blessings, and sort of kicking ourselves and regretting, sort of admitting to HaShem that we have transgressed and we have made mistakes in the relationship that we have with HaShem, and sort of prepare that. And then in the Sukkah, we build this temporary dwelling without a concrete roof, representing either the clouds of glory at the desert which hovered around Israel, Bnei Israel, and that vulnerability that the Jewish people had after receiving the Torah, after getting married to Hashem, and the difficulties, the wandering arounds, the uncertainties. So starting off with something really amazing, something really hopeful and look forward to. And then right after that, there is transgressions, there is guilt, there is shame, there is this begging for forgiveness and abstaining from eating and difficulty and self-guilt, and then abstaining from all the material comforts in Sukkah, spending 7 days in Sukkah, which is a vulnerable, temporary, but a dwelling which is vulnerable, which makes us a bit scared and uncertain. And then you see that what was it, this whole high holiday concept is, that it starts with gratitude, wishes, and all the material, material prayers and wants and needs, and prayers for health and rejuvenated life and long life and simchas. And then right after that we have that. Perhaps it is for creating this humility in Bnei Israel, that although Hashem loves us so deeply, unconditionally, yet in this space, in this realm of space and time, although we do hope for all the good things to happen and all the positivities and all the gratitudes and everything, but nothing is certain. And whenever we have nothing to eat, or we are feeling regret, or we feel that we have transgressed, or we feel empty inside, we should still know that we have this beautiful relationship with Hashem, and it is not dependent on if Hashem provides us food or not, provides us a secure and concrete dwelling in this actually temporary realm of time and space. We'll still be connected to Hashem, we'll still be intimate with Hashem. And I think that's also something that we can take in our relationships, especially our marital relationships. When two people get married, they're just so happy, so optimistic. We're going to build a home. We're going to have a great life. We're going to have children. We're going to have everything that we want. And then, in reality, sometimes there is not much to, sustain or pay the bills or for the food, such vulnerability. And then both the partners feel sort of a guilt that they are unable to provide each other with happiness, with material things. The marriage is actually not providing that material well-being, and that, at times the husbands or wives will feel that we don't have much to sustain ourselves. We don't have a great home. We don't have a home. We live in a rent, a temporary dwelling. So, it's such a beautiful concept that I understood it like this, that if we build a relationship with Hashem based on saying that we're married to Hashem, and we're not married to Hashem because He provides us great treasures and amazing food and blessings, we are committed and married to Hashem. Even when we are hungry, we are feeling guilty, lonely, and even we feel filthy inside, that we're just so bad that we have not fulfilled our commitments in this relationship. We have not performed any great mitzvot. We have lost in our ways, and even then we're connected. So Yom Kippur kind of represents that in every mistakes and transgression, of course it affects the other partner, our partner, Hashem, and our marital partners, like our spouse. But that doesn't mean that they necessarily want to not want to have a relationship. They still want to have a relationship. And they just want to have that relationship for the sake of relationship. Nothing material is dependent on this fact that Hashem wants to stay connected with us, and we want to stay connected with Hashem. And similarly, the vulnerability that Sukkah represents, although I didn't make it Sukkah because it's a male mitzvot, I think. It's not a female mitzvot. I did light the candles, not in a sukkah, unfortunately. But imagine that my other half probably made a sukkah and I. But yeah, but the temporary dwelling. I mean, it represents for me when I was thinking about it just yesterday and the day after that. But yeah, the day before that. And I was telling my sister also that this sukkah, not only it represents the vulnerability and the immaterialness in a way that as long as we live on this planet, in this realm of time and space, and nothing is concrete, and we live in this sukkah knowing that we're vulnerable and it is temporary. Even our existence on this planet is temporary. This realm of time and space is just temporary. And the most concrete and the most powerful and stable thing should be for us is the connection with HaShem, and not our walls and our roofs and there was this wonderful video that I heard, and I will put the link in the description, in which it says that this vulnerability is actually that Hashem's blessings actually protect us, and not the concrete walls and the concrete roof over our head, but our protection comes from the clouds of the glory. Our protection comes from us being surrounded in the protection of Hashem, which is not concrete, but rather it's very spiritual. It makes our souls make this spiritual aliyah to Hashem, that we're always under His protection, no matter where we are. Either we are under a concrete built home, or we are wandering around a jungle, or wandering around a desert, or anywhere. So Hashem is still there. So this sukkah will remind us for the rest of the year, and for the rest of life, hopefully. But it also kind of, in my opinion, it also kind of represents the temporary dwelling that Hashem had when the Israelites were in Sinai, wandering around. The tabernacle was built just like the sukkah. I mean, it was temporary, and it can be wrapped up and taken away from place to place wherever we're traveling. And it shows us that this life is a journey. It's a traveling journey, and we ought to go around, meet people, and touch them in so many different ways and layers, and sort of inspire them to connect with our Creator, which is a creator for everything, literally everything, every living, even non-living, entities. And so it's our way to take that tabernacle, that home for Hashem everywhere we go, and it's portable. And Sukkah kind of represents and reminds us that time when we were wandering around until we reached Eretz Israel. And it also, like I said, it also reminds us for the clouds of glory, which provided protection and blessing and manna to eat, and the presence of Hashem amongst us in the tabernacle. And it was just so amazing that there were so many amazing deep concepts that we can connect to high holidays, whether it's Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and Sukkah. But I think most beautiful and amazing concept for me personally was exactly that after you get married, after you celebrate and you eat and you feast and you have all the simchas and joys and hopes and dreams at Rosh Hashanah for the coming life, for the coming year, after having that relationship with Hashem, make sure to know that the coming times are difficult, and there will be times that we will feel guilty, we will feel small, that we have disappointed our partner, or we have disappointed ourselves, and we don't deserve this marital relationship either with Hashem or our spouse. But we must know through these high holidays that our spouse, whether it is Hashem or our soulmate, they always want our relationship. They want us rather than those material things that we can provide to them, whether it is food, it is a great house, or whatever. The most important thing for the spouse, or the most important thing in a marriage, is this yearning and this commitment to stay connected to each other for the good times, and more for the bad times or the worst time, when we don't have food and we don't have financial stability and material stability. Our spouse wants and expects from us more closeness, not less. And we might feel guilty, like on Yom Kippur, that we have transgressed and we have not been so faithful or been so committed to the relationship and our partner, but our partner still wants to listen to us, and our partner, which is Hashem, and our spouse, wants us to be closer to us and to talk to us and to ask us for forgiveness and to ask and reiterate our relationship and be there for us. And that's why the Jonah story is just so amazing and inspiring, that just like the prophet Jonah, he was connected to Hashem, not because he was blessed with so many children and so many other blessings, material blessings of cattle and lands and this and that. It was not because that he had such blessings and simchas. That's why he wanted to have this amazing relationship with Hashem, and that's why he was connected to Hashem, because he was blessed with so much material things and material simchas. And Hashem takes everything away from Jonah, and still Hashem was connected with Jonah, and Jonah was connected to Hashem, irrespective of the things that he had, the blessings he had or not. And I think that makes us Jewish, and I think that's the Jewish relationship, where it doesn't matter to us that if Hashem blesses us or it does not bless us, or we are able to perform our mitzvahs or we are not able to make our mitzvahs. We are always connected to Hashem, and we can always work on our relationship and make it better. And for us and for Hashem, the most important thing is that we know and we have this awareness that Hashem wants this relationship with us no matter what, and this relationship can always turn into this beautiful closeness and intimacy, and we must look forward to it, and we must build it without any hesitation or any guilt or anything. Hashem only wants us and this relationship, this marital relationship. And I hope that many of you have seen these high holidays in this light and are able to connect with Hashem like that. And may Hashem be with every one of us, not just Jews, but of course with Jews in that sort of a materialless and divine marital relationship, but also with non-Jews in any other form that they feel it is comfortable for them. But for Jews, for us, I think this is what the Jonah story tells us, that we are connected to HaShem irrespective of our, and this also reminds me of this amazing, inspiring lady, a Holocaust survivor. And when she said that she was in those death camps, HaShem was with them. I think that is because of this fact that HaShem is with us in a relationship, in our good times and our bad times and our worst times. And when people ask, when Holocaust was happening, where was God? Where was HaShem? I think HaShem was there with their most intimate and beloved people, the Israelites, the Jews. It was the most closest HaShem got to his people, and that was the most intimate relationship that HaShem had with the Israelites in the Holocaust, in the 40 years that the Israel wandered around in Sinai and across Sinai, everywhere. Yeah, so I think the closest and the most intimate we are with our spouse, that is HaShem, and our soulmate, is when we are in the most difficult times, because that is the time that we need our spouse the most. And we just need our spouse. We don't need any material or this. We just want to survive and have that relationship. After all, those Holocaust victims, those survivors, were fighting for that relationship, that identity, that Jewish identity. And what is that Jewish identity? It is the intimacy that the Jewish people have with HaShem. It is the marriage that the Jewish people have with HaShem. And they were standing for that, and they were fighting for that, irrespective of either they have the means to fight it or resist it. They didn't have any material things to cling on to. They were just standing and fighting for this identity that they are married to HaShem, and they are the Jewish people. And it's such a beautiful, beautiful concept. And I hope that we are able to, there's still, it's a week, there are 4 days more to Sukkot. So today is the third day only. Wednesday, that is, here in Pakistan. So this is the third day. 2 days of the Sukkah are the Shabbat restricted days. And then on the third days, you can, use electronics and cook and, from pre-existing flames, of course. If you do it pre-existing flames for the entire week, that would be good. But if you want to, for any circumstances or reason, you can't, then at least 2 days. And then the last 2 days of the Sukkah. And in between the intermediary days, you can only use the Sukkah for, eating your food and drinking and spending time there, praying and, everything. But there is synagogue service, or there is not. I think there is not. So, or there is synagogue service, and there is a Sukkah in the synagogue as well, to have the minyan of the men. Minyan is the group of, the minimum group of people, men who are required to have a prayer together. So yeah, so it is a Sukkah intermediary days. I hope these days are blessed and full of spirituality, and may your spirits and soul make an aliyah towards HaShem, ascend to HaShem, and strengthen that relationship, and have a blessed high holidays, the remaining months, and may they strengthen our emunah, because they have definitely strengthened my emunah and my yearning and my journey towards Judaism. Do pray for me. I really wish that I end up in New York as soon as possible, because I'm like really want to. So do pray for me, and yeah, take care, and have blessed days, these amazing days, and try to relate to that blessing of having a relationship with Hashem. Thank you very much.